When will Tesla surpass Apple, becoming the world's most valued company? In this video, that's what we're going to see. Tesla versus Apple, and see which one, if you invested back in 2022, will give you the greater return using a 10-year or 2030 prediction. So I've already made this video already a long time ago, and it did really well, but it's now time to update it because things have changed. So if you guys are ready, man, smash that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. And guys, if you guys bought the Tesla stock, just roared up 10% thanks to Morgan Stanley Adam Jones. If you guys bought the dip, then you guys need this shirt, man. Look at this. You bought the dip. Let's go in here. We know that's going to be a 2030 kind of chart, but it doesn't matter. If you bought the dip, you need this shirt. Check it out over here. Use the discount code RIPBEARS to get 10% off. All right, let's get down to it now. So here are the two charts, the Tesla one and the Apple one. And yes, this is available on Patreon, which you guys can go here if you guys want to support me. But here are the charts. First, let's start off with Apple. In 2022, Apple did almost $400 billion in revenue and almost $100 billion in net income. That's absolutely insane. That's about 9x more of what Tesla is today, but Apple deserves it. I mean, this is insane. And if you guys think this is the plateau for Apple, you're in for a rude awakening. But let's keep going down. We have the shares outstanding about 15.8 billion, EPS of $6.30, a PE of 21. Apple stock at that time in 2022 hit a low of 128, but I put here 132 with the 21 PE, which would give it a little over 2 trillion market cap. Now, figuring out for 2023 and 2024, I checked out Simply Wall Street. Now, although for them it wasn't until end of the year, it was until end of September. We're just gonna go with that for 2023 and 2024, and we got over 406 billion in revenue and over 100 billion in net income. Obviously, we know it's gonna be more than that, but for simplicity, let's just go with it. For shares outstanding, now here's the thing with Apple. Apple does dividends and they do buyback. I mean, they're a freaking Goliath, right? And they buy back about 2% every single year. It's insane what Apple is doing. It's absolutely a sheesh moment. And for that, not just for 2023, all the way to 2030, I did 2% every single year as a buyback, and we get to 2030 almost 13.5 billion shares outstanding. But nonetheless, going back to 2023, that would give us an EPS of $6.50 almost, give it a 30 PE, and as of what it is now, 195 bucks per share, over 3 trillion. Right now it's down to around 170, but it did hit a high of 195 bucks this year. So that's very interesting. In 2024, Simply Wall Street is saying by end of September of then is going to be over 434 billion and net income over 108 billion. And as you guys can see, the shares outstanding of 15.2 billion. Now, for 2025 onwards to 2030, what I did is that right now the average growth for Apple is about 6%, but Apple usually surprises us in a really good way, and now they have new products coming on the line, so I do think they're going to surprise us in growth. So for 2025 and 2026, I said for revenue, they're going to grow 15%, and obviously for the net income is going to be a 25% margin. So automatically the net income comes into play as well, 125 billion and 144 billion almost. In 2027 and 2028, 12%, and in 2029 and 2030, I reduced it down to 10%, being almost 873 billion in total revenue, and net income just 1/5 of a trillion, which is absolutely insane. It's absolutely crazy. And since we got the shares outstanding here, we can get the EPSs for all of them, and we get 650 from 2023 all the way to almost over $16 in 2030. So almost a 4x return just by looking at the EPA, which is absolutely insane. Now the PE, the stock prices, let's see what the stock price would be. Before we do that, in 2022, let's say you decide to put $10,000 invested in Apple in 2022. $10,000 at the price of 132 is about 71 shares. So that's what we have here, 10,000. But you also get 0.65% dividends at that time. Right now it's about 0.54% because the stock is higher. But at that time it was 0.65%. So it was a good deal to buy Apple last year. So assuming you bought it at the beginning of the year at 132 bucks of 10,000 invested, that would be 65 bucks you've made from Apple dividends. Now in 2023, a PE of 30, which will give a stock price of 195, because again, it was an all-time high this year, 3 trillion. That would mean your 10,000 has turned to almost 14,000, and your dividends for that year was almost 90 bucks. In 2024, a 30 PE would be 213 bucks per share. So next year, 3.2, almost 3.25 of a trillion market cap. Your 13.8K has turned to over 15K and almost 100 bucks in dividends. So that's a 2 years and you've made 50% from Apple stock, which is amazing. It's awesome. In 2025, give it a 30 PE, we get a stock price of $252 per share and a market cap over $3.7 trillion. Your 15K from the previous year has turned to almost 18K, with the dividends becoming $116 per share. So you're 65 in the beginning, 3 years later, 120 almost in the year, which is obviously the more money you have into it, the higher dividends you would get, the more sheesh moment it gets. But 10,000 is what we're going to say here. In 2026, a 28 PE, which would give a stock price of 275 and a market cap over 4 trillion. Sheesh moment right there. Your 18K has turned to almost 20K, with the dividends being over $127. Now, the reason why I put 28 PE here is because the growth is slowing down from the next year. It was 15%, now going down to 12%. That's normal when it comes to growth. And the thing is, guys, with Apple, they're not innovating as much as they used to before. I mean, when Steve Jobs was there was a lot of innovation. And if Steve Jobs was still alive today, Apple market cap would be over 5 trillion easily, because he would have done other things. But Tim Cook is an amazing executor, but he's terrible innovation. Apple has stopped innovating. They're just now printing money. That's all they're doing. And that's why they're not having that fast of a growth compared to like Amazon or Tesla, as we're doing here, right? So 28 PE, and next year in 2027, I put 26 PE, even less. And that would give us a stock price of 292 and a market cap almost reaching 4.2 trillion. Your 19.5K from the previous year is now almost 21K, and your dividends is now almost $135, which is not bad. In 2028, I even reduced it even further to a 25 PE, but still you're getting a stock price north of $320 per share and a market cap over 4.5 trillion. Your 21K has now turned to almost 23K, and your dividends is almost $150 annually, which is flipping awesome. In 2029, I reduced the PE again to 23, gives you a stock price of $332 per share, a market cap over almost reaching 4.6 trillion. Your 23,000 has turned to 23,500 with a dividends of $153. And lastly, in 2030, I gave it a PE of 22, which would give us a stock price of $356 per share and a market cap at 4.8 trillion. Your 23.5K has turned to over 25K, and your dividends is now 164 annually. So overall, guys, in terms of dividends, in this 8 years of investing in Apple, you've made about almost $1,100 just with a $10,000 investment. Again, we're not recontributing, we're not adding to it, we're just putting $10,000 into Apple stock, closing the account, not looking at it, and this is what happens to it. You went from 10K to over 25K in terms of your money, which is really good. You've 2.5x, actually more than that, because with the dividends, if you add that up together, that's over $26,000. In other words, that's about 264% in gains just with a $10,000 investment if you invested in 2022 till 2030 with these prediction numbers. Now again, guys, this is all a prediction alone, not facts. Take all this with a grain of salt. But if these numbers do come true, then this is what your return would be. Again, for a mega cap, a company that's worth $3 trillion giving you more than 2.5 return on your money in 8 years, that's absolutely flipping amazing. That's actually really good. Now the question is, can Tesla have greater market cap or valued more than Apple in the next 7 years or so? That's what we're about to find out. And if you guys are ready, man, smash that like button, because it's not smashed. Shame on you. All right, let's go. So when it comes to Tesla stock, you guys already know I've gotten deep into it. See, I have different prediction charts that includes FSD, that includes robotaxi, that includes energy, that doesn't include them at all, and it's just vehicles alone. It's a lot. So in this chart, we're only gonna do vehicles and energy alone because there is certainty for them. I mean, for energy at least. For vehicles we know, but for energy there is some certainty that we can actually scale and see what the prediction is. But for FSD, there's gonna be chart number 2. As you guys can see, Tesla 2023 to 2032 price target, energy plus FSD. We'll look at that as well. But in this chart, we're only gonna look at vehicles and energy. That is it. Nothing more and nothing less. And again, give all this with a grain of salt. Now, instead of going one by one like how we did with Apple, the good thing is about this Tesla chart, because I've worked on it so much, is we're just gonna put the vehicle deliveries, and then the whole thing is gonna get calculated automatically. It's flipping awesome. This thing is available on Patreon if you guys want to mingle around with it too. over here. So in 2023, I put here 1.8 million vehicles with the gross profits of vehicle gross profits of 18%. That will give us 10.7% in operating margin, which would give us a non-GAAP of just over $11 billion. Now, I do think we're going to hit 1.85 million vehicles, not 1.8. If we do change that to 1.8 and a half, that'll give us almost 12 billion, which would be pretty decent. But I'm putting 1.8 just to be conservative on top of conservative. Okay, that's what I'm putting here, and you guys can see the revenue is not even reaching 100 billion, which I do think this year is going to reach 100 billion. So that's 2023. In 2024, I made it very simple. I said every single year they're going to be going 35% up until 2028, and then 2029 2030 is going to be 30%, just to keeping things conservative. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all the numbers in 2024, over 2.4 million vehicles, 2025 over 3.2 million vehicles, 2026 over 4.4, 2027 almost 6, 2028 over 8, 2029 almost 10 and a half, and 2030 almost reaching 14 million. Now guys, I'm not a Tesla bear. I know you guys probably going like, no man, Tesla's gonna do 20 million vehicle deliveries by 2030. I'm not doubting that, but I am doubting it's gonna happen by 2030. Most likely it's gonna happen in 2032 or 2033. Maybe they'll do production by 2030. 20 million production, but deliveries maybe 2033, 2032, maybe even going further to 2034, 2035, because there's a lot of delays in their gigafactory, especially in Mexico. Now it's 2026, 2027, so that's going to take a lot longer. But again, 13 million vehicle deliveries, or almost 14 million vehicle deliveries in 2023. That is insane. That is crazy. And you guys can see the revenues and all that kind of stuff. Just the revenues are absolutely insane. $700 billion in revenue, and net income non-GAAP almost reaching 190 billion. It's not as much as Apple's in 2030, and that's also including energy and stuff like that, but nonetheless, that is absolutely insane. Now let's see what the stock prices could be. All right, in 2022, on the average, Tesla was trading around $181. Yes, it went down as low as 100. It also was as high as 400, but at the most part, it stayed, I guess, more. The median mode was around the 181. That's what it was in 2022. And you decided to put $10,000 then, which means that's about 55 shares. So let's see how this will grow over the coming years. So in 2023, if we give it a PE of 84, which what the stock price is today, that will give us a stock price of 275. Now, most of you guys are saying it's going to go to 300. All right, we'll do that in a bit, but with an 84 PE, that's 275 bucks per share, $900 billion market cap. You've more than 50% your money, which is absolutely insane. But if you think it's going to go, if you believe that it's going to go to 300, which honestly, with the recent news with Morgan Stanley and Adam Jones, yeah, I mean, 300, because just of that news alone, probably could go to 300, and that would give us a stock price of, a PE of 92, which would give the stock price just a little bit over 300. And look at that, 66%. That is just insane. That is crazy, but I'm going to go back and put it to 84 just to stay conservative. My price target for 2023 is 260, and although we hit it many times this year, it looks like now because of Morgan Stanley and Adam Jones, we're probably going to hit 300 or at least 275. That's pretty much what the price is now, recording of this video. So, sheesh moment right there. In 2024, I'm going to give it a PE of 69. See what I did there? And that will give us a stock price of 354. My price target for 2024 is 350. Now, you guys call me a bear or a bull, but that's my price target. I ain't changing it. 350. And that will give us a market cap over $1.1 trillion. And now your 15K from the previous year has turned to almost 20. Doubling your money within 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, almost 20. That's absolutely insane. Tesla is absolutely insane. Sheesh. 2025, I'm going to give it a PE of 55, stock price of 539, market cap over 1.7 trillion. Your 19K has turned 29K. In just 1 year, you slapped on more than 10K of profit. That's just insane. That's just absolutely insane. In 2026, a PE of 50, stock price over 750 bucks per share, market cap of 2.4 or $5 trillion. I mean, just look at the jump from 2025 to 2026, and just look at the jump for Apple 2025 to 2026. It is nothing. It is monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. 2027, PE of 45, we get a stock price of almost 950 bucks per share and a market cap of 3 trillion. Your 41,000 has turned to 52. 11K? That's what you call exponential growth, my friends. You see, Tesla, what Tesla's doing is, because they're innovating so much and they have so many products coming in and they have so much technology and things to offer, exponential growth works amazing for them. The thing with Apple is they've already finished their exponential growth. Their S-curve is done. Tesla is starting their S-curve. One with their vehicles, and now with their energy, and then later with their FSD and robotaxi, and then the last one is robots, Tesla bots. But that's gonna be at 2030, mid 2030 kind of thing. So that's why they're going. That's why I say Tesla stock they're young. They're still young today. They're gonna continue growing exponentially. I can go on with Tesla, man. I could keep going on. So that's 2027. 2028, PE of 40. That's a stock price of almost $1,200 per share and a market cap of over $3.8 trillion. Your 52,000 is now almost 65. Moving on, 2029, a PE of 35, which will be a stock price of $1,400 per share, which give it a market cap of 4.5 trillion. Oh, wait a minute. We are so close to beating Apple's market cap by 2029. Sheesh. This is getting intense. Let's see what happens in 2030. But your 65,000 has turned to almost 77,000. Again, this growth is absolutely insane. And in 2030, I gave it a PE of 30, which I don't think in 2030 Tesla's going to be trading at 30 PE, but keeping it conservative. That's a stock price of almost $1,600 per share and a market cap of 5.2 trillion. And it's beating Apple. There we go. So it looks like here by 2029, 2030, if we just take Tesla's energy and vehicles alone, they will beat it by somewhere between 2029 and 2030. So sheesh moment. That is an absolute sheesh moment. But check this out. Your 77,000 has turned to 87,000. I mean, this 10, imagine just every year you just get 10K. You just make 10K. I mean, that's absolutely insane. Overall, your ROI for Tesla stock, just putting 10,000 in the stock and just shutting the account, not looking at it, not adding to it or anything, is 877%. Almost a ninefold. That's just insane. That's crazy. But you know what else is crazy, guys? You know what else is crazy? We haven't even added FSD in this yet. What will the stock price be, and how sooner will Tesla beat Apple once we add FSD in? If you guys are ready, man, smash that like button. It's gonna get really juicy. So I added here FSD global revenue. Pretty much what it means is that with a snap of a finger, any Tesla around the world, once Tesla solves FSD, anyone with a Tesla can opt in for the FSD. And I did a whole bunch of calculations and all that kind of stuff. You guys can check it out here or check out Patreon because it's there as well. It's broken down to the T. It's a sheesh moment. So that's what this number is. And then we got the FSD licensing as well. And again, all this was a formula as well in a video that I made earlier or just a couple months ago, and as well as on Patreon as well. So let's go down to see what the stock prices would be. Look at that, 2030, $2,500 per share. Whoa, 1,400% return. That's just insane. That's just crazy. 8 trillion market cap by 2030. So let's see when will Tesla actually beat Apple in terms of valuation. We said 2030 with just energy and vehicles alone with FSD added. So 2030, well, I mean, we've doubled Apple there. In 2029, it's more, I mean, still more than Apple's. In 2028, same. And in 2027, there we go. So it looks like 2028 seems to be with the FSD beating Apple's valuation. That is gonna be an insane time to witness. We have 4.5 trillion for Apple in 2028, and in 2028 for Tesla, we have over 5 trillion. And then it just takes off from there. Then next year we have 6.6, then 8. We missed the 7 trillion. Sheesh. That's just absolutely insane. Look at that, your 10,000 with the energy and vehicles alone was 87,000, but here is almost approaching 140,000. That's just not even, and that's just a 10,000, dude. That's just absolutely insane. From Apple's 264% ROI to Tesla's almost 1,400%. And if you remove all this and get the vehicles and energy alone, it's 900% almost. So that's absolutely insane. Now, this doesn't even include robotaxi. If we include robotaxi, I mean, ARK is saying by 2027, the market cap is going to be pretty much what 2030 is. So I don't know. These numbers are way too big. It hurts my brain in a way. And that's why I'm all into Tesla stock, man. That's why I am all in into Tesla stock. But there you guys have it. When will Tesla become the world's most valued company, beating Apple? Well, earliest with the FSD 2028, latest 2030. And if you want to add robotaxi on top of that, maybe even sooner, but I don't know. Doing robotaxi properly, I don't know how. So if you guys know how to do it, please let me know. I would love to do the evaluation properly. But in this video, we only did Tesla's energy and vehicles and FSD in a different chart. We didn't add the full business into it, like the supercharging network, the insurance, the robo taxis, the Tesla bot. So I made a separate video putting all that in what the stock price could be by 2030, and that if this hurts my brain, this video hurting my brain just making and editing and all that kind of stuff. So check it out. You won't be disappointed. Again, it's all speculation. And don't forget I bought a Deb t-shirt, man. Again, 10% off if you use the code RIPBEARS, and subscribe. And I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.